It's schnitzel time. Gotta wake up early, put the chicken on the breast, get the bread it up. We're gonna try our best. It's schnitzel time. Hello, hello. We're having some bad storms in my area, so the power went out on my PC, but we are on the phone, live and well for Comfort's Couch. If you could, retweet the room for me. Let's get some more beautiful souls in here, telling some stories, saying some songs and all that good jazz. Give me 2 shakes while I finish rebooting up the internet. I see we got our latest affiliate in the house. Peanut, haven't got to meet you yet properly, but I sent you a little request. Let's get you in here. Definitely put Spunky. Send him that co-host invite. Get him up here. We got the baldies ready to roll. Love in the background on that wallpaper. You got HB. We're gonna have to turn this other computer on just to get it going. Storms are a go-go, and for some reason, we still have all of our lines in the air. Spunksta. HB, can you hear Spunky?
No clue what he's saying.
Me
Is
either.
Spunky here?
I don't speak chameleon.
Was the Spunkster the call for Spunky?
Yep.
Okay, all right. Was not sure. I thought maybe it was the nickname of Handsome, or Peanut. You call him Punkster. He looks like a punk star.
No. I haven't got to meet Peanut yet. Peanut, what's going on? Real quick, just to get some introductions and stuff. How you doing?
Doing good. How the heck are you doing today?
I'm impeccable. Thank you for asking.
Love to hear it.
I saw you had some spaces earlier. I've been working and running around trying to get things done before the little storm settles into my area this evening. Luckily, I got it done just in the nick of time. But now I just got a fingers crossed that the infrastructure holds so that the power stays on. Come on, infrastructure. Probably not though. This is South Carolina.
Oh, okay, got it. Okay, I was just about to ask where you're located. It sounds like there's, I guess, like a pretty big. I haven't looked at the news or anything today, but it sounds like there's a pretty big cell or storm hitting the East Coast. Because I think there were some people down in Florida that were telling me that they're getting something too down there. Could be wrong though. Could be wrong.
Oh yeah, I forget what season it is. Nino, is that what it is? It brings the crazy things, but whatevs. Regardless of whatever story we tell ourselves, this is my space. I get to host solo, sorta. I get a bunch of fun, beautiful freaks coming through here. But this is Comfort's Couch, Spunky Storytelling Extravaganza. We read the Spunky story. I read some story. Invite others to get up and share how they create story or a story they have of their own or some poetry or anything like that. So if you got something to share, Peanut, definitely don't be shy. It's a perfect place for reading and all that good jazz. We won't talk too much about crypto or anything like that, just because I feel it essential for storytellers like musicians and the visual artists to have a space so that they can allow those multiple disciplines to kind of unfurl together. Because storytelling is ubiquitous. It's not limited to pen and pad or paint and canvas, but through music, through body, through your life. Dali said, "Stop trying to create art and become it," because we are the stories that we tell ourselves. But glad to have you on stage, Shiba King. I see you up there. Welcome, bud.
I just wanted to say hi. I know you do storytelling, so I just came to hang out. Jumped on and listened, but I just wanted to say greetings and hope everybody has a good evening and a good day today.
Yeah. Hey, how did those meatballs count last time?
Amazing.
There we go. There we go. Nothing better than that, people. Good food in the belly made with love. What a story to tell. But I'm not going to be busting y'all with crazy story puns all evening long. It's going to be a pretty chill evening. Potentially, who knows who may stop by. But we do have some fun guests lined up. We always enjoy sharing the spunky story, but having Devin coming in, the author of Theft of Fire last week, was an incredible experience that helped kind of hone in on my resolve that's required for me to push my own work forward and seek no one else's approval but myself for my creative work, meaning I don't need an agent. I hopefully can take the same plunge that I find the musicians and the visual artists taking day in and day out. Thank you for everybody showing up. Please retweet the room. Looks like I got some internet boosted on the other computer, so I'm gonna be sharing it around, pulling up the things. Like I said, we got some stories to tell. We're gonna start it off with Spunky's story. Not yet though. I want to touch in with HB and Spunky. Get the temperature of the water. See how they're doing. Haven't been able to speak with them directly this week yet. I've been missing them. So what's happening? How you living?
For me, I've been
Yep.
testing some new things today. We don't gonna talk fun stuff. So yeah, everything else is going great. What I said, a little bit of testing of the app, and yeah, we saw some bugs in it. So work in progress still, but we're getting there. So how are you doing, Prof?
Like I said, I am impeccable. I use that word, to mean that I'm striving. Because right now, as I'm talking to you, the power's going out of the house. The lights are.
I don't hear you anymore. That's perfect. Is
No, I
everything
think
turned off?
I think his internet turned off as well.
Each other
So, oh, he's back.
to proceed
He's
forward.
Nice.
You were gone for like 10 seconds. So you're back.
Oh, was I?
Yeah,
Yep.
you were.
Damn, must have hit the cell tower. It's Armageddon.
And you're impeccable. That's the same thing as the Rambler saying, absolutely fantastic.
Yep, I use it
Super
all
nice.
the time. It's just it's part of the story that I tell for others. To show them that they don't have to be stuck on the stake without raising the stage, which we often kind of find ourselves kind of stuck in such a sticky situation.
All right. Can I ask you guys a question?
Of course, of course.
So is, I guess, around freezing in temperature. I'm outside at the bus stop. Normally, the bus stop transfer would take 30 minutes, and it is a 20-minute walk. But after the 30 minutes, the bus is there, and then it's just a 2-minute walk. So that's convenient. Now, there is a big thing which tells you what time the bus is arriving, and it gives me a question mark before it comes. What would you do?
Man.
It's a difficult question.
Yeah, because it's like time and then quality, plus being, in the freezing temperature.
How much do you like walking?
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, I still have to wait 10 minutes in the freezing cold, maybe not getting the bus, and then walk 20 minutes, or just walk. We see the bus.
I would just start walking.
Okay,
I'm
then
terrible at sitting still, so that's not gonna happen for me.
so then I wait for the bus. Things.
Although I also hate walking.
Oh heavens, what do you do then?
I can't rate the all these, right? So it's like Jim Cramer effect. So if Hanson starts walking, I will wait for the bus.
100%. I really love the anti-Kramer effect, or I guess it's just called the Kramer effect.
Yeah.
Whatever
Kramer
one
effect.
says, do the opposite.
Yeah, it's the Kramer effect. It is, but you counter traits Kramer.
It's essential. That Joker's narrative. I mean, talk about telling a story. Sheesh. Taking the facts of the world around them, putting it through their filter feeders, and extruding a narrative that gets folks to be moved emotionally, to act financially. What a power indeed. I wish that was that power was more reserved though for those inclined to the narrative structure and to kind of design these architectural wonders of narrative, to rip you from your cognitive Kansas with a cyclone of unorthodox ideas, as Tom Robbins would say. But man, no, definitely wait it out. Get you, stay cozy, wait for the time,
I have a
do the
second question.
vibes.
Then.
Yeah.
Second question, and this is for comfort, right? Would you just stay on mute and wear gloves, or get your fingers freezed off but able to unmute, or use your nose to unmute? But there are people at the bus stop.
I would use my nose to unmute. Gotta keep those hands warm. Unless you take the hand out the glove and then put it on, But the nose thing, I could see.
Maybe you should just put your hands in your jacket, and keep your telephone in your jacket as well. Keep the thumb
and
on
stay
top of the
unmute.
unmute, but not just keep the thumb on top of your unmute button. And just keep it there, so you don't have to move it and just suddenly click something else. But
what if I do this? That will be terrible.
I can still tell.
Use beak. Yep.
The what?
Your beak. Your nose.
Oh, okay.
Which nose?
Okay, I'm trying. Wait a second. Oh no, it didn't work.
You have to forgive Spunky. He's a chameleon.
I think
He's got only so many appendages and he doesn't like the cold.
you first have to
Use your tongue.
lick your fingers down your nose. That's all the way.
But then he kind of
Look at yourself.
breathe. He might need some disinfectant first, buddy.
Too funny. Too funny. Yamaza, if you could do me a solid and message T-Mac for me, that would be amazing. Like I said, power going crazy here over at Comfort's Couch, but I got all of you crazy, beautiful, wonderful freaks here via the technosocial wormhole that brings us to Twitter Spaces. I mean, X Spaces every day. I wonder if I'll ever be able to untrain myself to say that, like GIF versus GIF.
I have another small question for you, Conf. What did you
Yeah.
think about the new art for Yamaza Vision?
Oh, I loved it. I was enjoying the mess out of it with the frames. They had the freaks in the frames today, and then I left them this morning. I come back and they're still in there chatting it up. They were from everything from, one emotional states to crypto trading to gold conspiracy theories back to, and I think it might have been the frames. I think it might have been that background kind of making it. I mean, I just love that pattern. Can we get that on something like a Louis V bag? Let's get a spunky bag made from,
Yeah,
natural source
already been,
leather-like material.
Sarah already gave us a tip. Yeah, but did we do it already? Yeah, I've got the website, everything's ready. We just need the bigger format, and it has to be lined out to make a wallpaper of it, real wallpaper, right? You can just order it.
Okay. I mean, what would it cost to make a fabric print of that? Like, I really want to see that on like a designer-like bag. I think that'd be hilarious. Like, I have a friend who makes bags here in Charleston. I'd love to see some type of fabric printed done up like that. Him and his brothers created this thing they call the Bitcoin purse, and they put basically a Bitcoin in a purse or attached a Bitcoin to a purse. You can't really put it in the purse. I mean, put the ledger and the stuff in there. But anyway, it's attached in this purse, and the purse is like handmade with gold and all this fine material or whatnot. But it was their first stab at having like a digital artifact. I definitely would like to pitch him. We'll make me a little spunky knapsack or something like that. Little soccer bag, a little drawstring, super simple, all fabric. We'll see. Anyway, I'm rambling. That's the Rambler's job, but I love it. Your artist is killing it. They're able to adapt and deliver like consistent quality through. You could tell like their line work and their style. It's a wonderful portfolio, and I think that'd be cool if y'all could gather that. Just like a little portfolio collection of all of your artists' works, especially for, spunky. Everything from the dump store, the junkyard, to the Christmas tree lighting GIF or video and all that jazz. I mean, it's very impressive. Not many projects are putting that quality into, what they are producing out there. Most of the time, it's just copy pasta. Very simple stuff, but y'all actually are producing works of art. My banner, I was like, damn, I don't know if I could change it now. I love it that much. A little gold beast riding on a couch with some hot air balloons everywhere. That's peak my style.
Can I say one crypto thing?
Holy shit.
It just happened.
That's about my price range. Holy moly. Just kidding. That's amazing.
Yeah, and
For
I have to
now.
walk.
Walk in the cold, you.
It's even warm.
20-minute walk in the cold, freezing cold.
Yeah. I thought we should do that also.
But you're not alone. You got us. As Sarah would say, your pocket family is right here. A nose poke away. Boop.
No, I put you all in my pocket now, so some extra time to unmute.
100%. We'll give you the gray way effect. That's 12-second on the mute unmute.
The Bitcoin thing. That's
Wow.
quite a thing.
Yeah, that's the start. That's another layer added to it. Not like a layer, but for purchasing abilities. It used to be you had to know a guy that had a ATM that knows a thing and put the money in there and pop it out. And then we got to do it on ranges, but you still got to have a thing to get to it. Now it's becoming more accessible to the public. If it's an ETF, then it should be on like Charles Schwab or Stash or Robinhood or anything like that. Am I correct?
But is this a sell the news thing or?
It's about to. I mean, it's about to peak. Is what I heard people mention with a retrace. Unless it just fucking breaks out and it goes to like 100K, but I don't know the future. Nor do I strike well on the financials. Sadly, when I was in the recipe room before I got incarnated into this world, I think I kind of lapsed on the financial luck aspect. I got luck in other aspects, but when I look toward the finances, it definitely doesn't bode well for me.
Mostly it's you're waiting for the good news, and then you're buying in, and then at the moment the good news drops, everything just goes down again.
Mm-hmm.
I think you're used to the news already because you've been living towards the news all the time.
Yep.
And it happens, and it's okay, nice. Next.
No, I was asking, like, how a Satoshi is the smallest version of a Bitcoin. That's the smallest piece of it.
Yeah.
Okay, so it can't get any smaller than a Satoshi. Now, will there become a point where the Satoshi is worth whatever? I don't know. What's the Satoshi worth now?
I have no clue, honestly. I'm gonna check it for you.
The reason I'm asking is like, well, one day, if Bitcoin, there's the halving, there's less being made, there's only X amount of supply. At the end of the thing, the last one gets mined. Will the Satoshis end up having like $1 value, like $10,000 value per Satoshi?
Well, the whole thing, of course, is, right, there are only 21 million Bitcoins, right? So not even every millionaire in the world can buy a Bitcoin. It's not going to be available for every millionaire in the world, never, because there are only 21 million of them. And Satoshi is 100 million of Bitcoin, right? 0.
Yeah, it's now 0.00048.
Then one day, though, it could be worth $1, $1,000 if we make it that far, people. And we won't make it that far if we don't liberate the creative mind across the planet as swiftly as possible for the next 7 generations. I'm not kidding when I beat you all over the head with that statement every day. It is imperative that we bring more creatives to the table and inspire more storytellers into the conversations. We can kind of construct a greater narrative so that we don't have the financiers and the political degens being the ones that inform and leverage the AGIs as they are coming. I just hope our philosophies are agile enough for when that day hits, just for our humanity's sake. Not that the machines will strip them away from us. We've done an excellent job of doing that ourselves, but more so that we are able to foster and inspire more Renaissance-minded children into the game, so that when we leave high school at 18 or primary, whenever that is, that you're versed in multiple languages globally. I know some countries do have the prestige of that, but a lot of places don't. And I would love for, the kid in Podunk, South Carolina to come out of school with 3 languages and a better understanding of their why in the world whenever, they're able to take that place instead of being 30 years old, languished in poverty, sugar ridden with snacks up to their arms in medical debt, blah, blah, blah. But enough of the doom and gloom. I see Spunky's got his hand up.
Yeah, just to give your perspective on the price, you want to have a 1 million value on BTC, so 1 Bitcoin equals $1 million. It needs to grow to a market cap of 19.4 trillion US dollar, which is twice the amount of current gold market cap, more or less. So there needs to be an inflow of twice as much money as there is currently sitting in gold to get a 1 million Bitcoin. That's a long way.
Oh yeah, no. I love it. I love it. We're at the bleeding edge of change, people. What a time to be alive. There's a fun quote that says that the best time to be alive is at the pinnacle of revolution. And I often thought that the revolution, as any rebellious upstart would have had it, that would have been in the streets, then it was in the political box, and then it was here, and then it was there, and then it was in realms of thought that are just tangible to grasp hold of. But with blockchain technology, democratized AI tool sets, we are swiftly shrinking the lag time between what we can envision and create. And that's an extremely powerful thing for us to have access to. It's like when the cell phone was given to basically everybody in the world, it put the most impoverished human above the communicative capabilities of the president of the United States, 20 years prior. And that was just a cell phone. Imagine what happens when you give people the Library of Alexandria on demand, and then you equip them with the curiosity and the inspiration required to delve into those archives and glean some semblance of truth, or at least a grand story to tell. something grander than we could have imagined had we not dove into the same waters as those mystics and those madmen. Time to be alive. Let's see here.
That is comfort. That's beautifully said. But it's also fine to be alive when walking towards home, freezing cold, and hear you guys into my Web3 ears, right? So that's already also very pleasant.
Oh yeah, no, let the bondfire keep you warm. You know, as you traverse from one destination to another.
Shall I do some la la?
No, because I can
You want to
still
sing?
mute. I can still mute you with my nose. I can do it quite fast, actually.
Give him the boop. Give him the MPDTM. I'll bet you won't.
Oh, it won't work with. Oh yeah, it works. You have to unmute everybody because it's quite tricky
Perfect.
with my nose. Got a big,
Oh,
the big nose.
Funny. Oh, the power is coming back on. That means I got a little spunky story to tell. Where's my friend DMX would have said, RIP. Got around, got a story to tell. I love these weekly roundups. Even though they're like a little bit behind what's been produced, I love just rereading it aloud to the folks. And I got to thank y'all again, HB and the Rambler, for the opportunity to kind of read the story aloud, as it helps me in my own process of being comfortable reading my own works aloud and the works of others, to the point that I'm like, I don't even care if you send me something, I might just read it for you, type of vibe. Something about hearing the reverberation in your own voice, as you kind of try to facilitate these words with an exactness that doesn't leave the reader confused or the listener confused. But when y'all talk to Michelle, tell them, keep up the amazing work. You know, I can't wait to see where it goes, and that we definitely want them back on to talk story. And I'm hoping we can trick some other storytellers and authors to get into the conversation or inspire them. I guess not trick them, but I am a trickster and a word slickster of sorts. So. But to inspire them into the conversation. But enough of me rambling. Would y'all like to hear the weekly roundup of the spunky story?
Yes, please.
Yes,
Yeah,
for sure.
perfect.
I
I know it's
haven't
getting
been
late for
reading
you.
it just fun, you know. So yeah, I'm gonna sit and relax
It's
and
10
listen
here,
here.
but looking forward to the story, buddy.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. So
Mute me. I cannot unmute myself.
I'm about to mute you. Nope,
Thanks.
I can't.
Oh.
There is no mute button for you. It's only just removed from co-host. You just got to be very quiet. Nah. So this is last week's diary entries by our main man Spunky, aka the Spunkster. He's just discovered Christmas, you know, or remembered Christmas, discovered his tree. Let's get your mouse up here. He's got his friend Dumpy, the mischievous fly. You know, he's got his three-legged dinosaur. He's got Willie, crumpled pieces of paper he's writing in every day. So let's see what he's been up to. Oh, you might as well. What you got?
Okay. You cannot mute a co-host, right? That's just not a thing for the record. And Rambler, I have a fix for that, but we won't go through that. We need to hear about Dump.
You dang right. Dumpy's my dude. I might superimpose me a little dumpster onto the yeah. I got Spunkster, got the dumpster. Throwing a lot of stirs on the end. I'm just stirring the pot, people. Stirring the pot. Anywho. This is last week's diary entries for our main man Spunky. Here we go. Day 1. So this is it, Willie. A new year. Do you smell that? That's the smell of new opportunities. The sweet smell of success. The smell of kindness and friendship. Of sweet Lord Almighty, Dumpy. What do you? Happy 2044. Day 2. I'm making a list, Willie. Things that I want to do this year and things that I don't want to do anymore. I want to become a better version of me. A chameleon extraordinaire, you might say. A can-million instead of a can't-million. Today is the beginning of the rest of my life. The next day. High on my list of things I want to say is goodbye to my hostile reaction to Dumpy's nature. That small fly can't help it that it stinks so awfully. Let's see how you smell when your diet consists of only poo, Willie. Your pages would be stinking to high heaven. Day 4. Willie, I found something today that's going to help me with my new outlook on life. It's some kind of glasses, tinted blue and red. They give me a bright colored vision of the junkyard. Everything is just a little more cheerful. Shame that I have no nose or ears. Day 5. These glasses are wild, Willie. It makes everything look a little more real, if you catch my drift. This is the perfect tool to positive attitude on life. Watch out, world, because Spunky is here. Day 6. Even Dumpy looks more colorful. Are you enjoying your day? Isn't life simply a gas? No, wait, that's not what I meant. My eyes, my glasses, they melt. Day 7. Okay, Willie. Half of my blue glasses has melted due to Dumpy's acidic aroma. I know he can't help it. Mar diggity damn, that furious fly's vial of vitriol deserves every negative vibe I can send at him. Damn you, Dumpy. Damn you forever. End of the week for our main man, Spunkster. Looks like he and Dumpy are hitting a rough patch, but Dumpy can't help it. Based on his diet, maybe if he ate some better foods, he'd have more colorful toots. We shall see. And next week's installment of the Junkyard Diaries.
Yeah, I really love the way that the trait is being described.
Now you know what happened.
Yeah.
Spunky doesn't have a nose for it to balance on. He don't got ears for it to hook on. He's just fucking mobbing around, living it up.
Yeah,
The next
so
thing
I
you know,
have a total different view of Kate Regan right now during this story. I feel a bit sorry for acid gas will burn his glasses a bit. Maybe that's why there's no Dumpy on it.
yep, a little acidic aroma. Well done.
It's too
Now,
funny, you know, that you had like the traits including in the story.
oh, that's the best part. When Sarah and I were writing the circumfusion, like that was like I went through all of the comic apes because originally, Daniel was doing the fusion, but it was going to be that created like heroes, sort of. And so I was going through just picking out all my favorite traits from the Sketchy Apes comic collection because they have some pretty gnarly stuff because they come later in his art style. And then taking my favorite traits from the Sketch Ape book club collection, and then having that palette set to the side. So if I needed a red, it was going to be a red for a Santa hat that was going to get applied to the apes. Or if we're in the maker space, there's like a whole arena of situations, or I'm having them extract scientists from the crab lab. I can now open up this X-Men like world of possibilities by taking these traits without having to expend too much mental bandwidth in harnessing those images because they're already present. So it's kind of like a write by numbers when you get the traits and you're able to kind of weave them in, because they just fit when it's done that way. I hope we get the laser pistol, one of my favorite traits. I hope he finds one of those out there. A little space blaster.
Ray gun.
Yeah, the ray gun. There we go.
Yeah, definitely. And Conquer, to be honest, you really made an improvement reading out the story. So if you listen back to the first one and listen back to this one, you can really hear that improvement already. So props to you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Job.
And you talk like you are walking in the cold. You have freezing, aren't you?
Is he cheap? Is he chili chip cheap?
Yeah, it is.
Now,
Very
what kind
close.
of jackets are you wearing? Is it like a down? Like what? You got like a special type of Arctic pullover? How does that work?
You know those people that stand by the road and then flash everything that open the jacket, that kind of jacket. So I'm not doing that because it's
You got the trench coat? Perfect.
yeah, the French coat. French coat or a trench coat?
Trench.
Oh, okay.
Why is it called a trench coat though?
Yeah, why? Why not French coat? It's way better. Making some friends.
Right? Like, hey friends, what's going on?
That gold? Yes, it is. All right, I mute myself with my nose.
There we go. See? He's learning, people. He's learning. Well, I hope y'all enjoyed my reading of the Junkyard Diaries. I kind of look forward to it every week. I try to keep myself from reading it just so I can enjoy the live read or the cold read with y'all, which kind of catches me off guard with something like the nuanced humor, that just makes you giggle. I think is important. The balls are we have to embrace them creatively. They are what make us human. There's those accidents where we get the theta rays of inspiration that lead us to the solution to the problems we didn't know we could solve. But if any of you in the audience has anything that you would like to share or something you would like for me to read for you, feel free to pop it up on stage. If you participate, I have basically a complimentary access pass. It's on Polygon, but I'm giving it away to folks who participate in these things so that we can give those who are interested in story access to my notes on writing, which is graciously being hosted at the IO Discord. You'll get all of that there, plus much more. I do have a book that's about to get released, and that it's before March. I have the ISBNs, but I'm waiting on some proofreaders to finish up, as well as my own last minute kind of revisions, which I get to read aloud. And tonight, once I get the computers booted up properly, I should be able to read you part of the next chapter from that story, 60 frames per second, Cyberdelic Odyssey. Retweet the room, get some storytellers in here. Like I said, if you yourself know how to tell a story through art, through the visual, through dance, through cooking, through song, please get on stage and share a little bit about your process with us. I'm always hungry to understand and know more, because the hero's journey is just the beginning. It's not the everlasting. All right, I've sent some extra invites out. Let's see if we can get some literary folks talk about the craft. Boom, shabow. Locking it down. Perfect. Let's see here. This is a storytelling extravaganza. You have to excuse my slurredness. I had some dental work earlier today, and the right side of the face is a little puffy, but we are enunciating right on cue. I'd like to give a big thanks to all of my green dots in the room and everyone else who is come to say hello. Let's see here. We got circumfusion. See the not so crazy part to you. It's not terribly long. If I don't want to bore the audience with the nonsense. Ooh. I think y'all can stomach this. Who wants to come say hello? Is that Shar? Let's let Shar on stage real quick. Good day, Shar. You got a story to share? You trying to get a complimentary access pass? Huh? One of the first providential projects made on the Hashlibs art engine for the rest of the folks took advantage of the open source technology and rugged 80% of the space with it.
I don't know. I don't.
You don't know?
I
All right.
don't. I'm not.
You got a story to tell? How excited are you about going to Disney World?
There's no doubt Char's got stories to tell. Let's hear it.
Yeah, it's true. But I already went to Disney World. That was what were the what were the good things you did in the past month? The past. Remember that was all those stories happened already.
No. You just said didn't you just say earlier today that you're excited about? Oh no, that was the past month. There we go.
Past month. Yeah.
There we go.
Good.
I think that's why we're all sick. We went the week before Christmas. Oh God. Yeah. But it was
thought it
very
was the
quiet.
Dunkin' Donuts though.
No, don't worry about that.
well, thank you for visiting the couch.
Yeah, I'm here to listen to you, but I just wanted to say hi and see. Shush. See if
I
you
see,
needed anything.
Hashlips is active. Let's try to get Hashlips in here. Especially since I'm about to read from his book. Boom, shabbat, people. That's how you do it. Just send it on out. Well, Shar, put your feet up, get comfy, get you some snacks, a little drinky drink, some hydration. Stay mindful of your posture, people. All right, take some deep breaths. Line that skull over the spine. Engage your core best you can. We are about to start a little reading from a book that I worked on with Sarah. And Sarah is this wonderful blue-haired lady down there. If y'all see her, give her a follow. She and I co-authored Circumfusion novella for the Hashed and Sketchy Apes communities. I know I tell you about it all the time, but it's an amazing story, and it would not have been possible without Web3. I would have never been able to work with somebody of her caliber, nor known of somebody of her caliber beforehand, as I am, traditionally would have been siloed off into my region of the world as well as in my economic station. And with the power of Web3, which is the relationship between blockchains, spaces and marketplaces, we were able to create something that reaffirmed the possibility that I could do something just the same as well. And I hope that that strikes many other people out there. We need to deal with the currency of inspiration over the inflated currency of consumption. It's the only path forward. And it is the new age that we're going into. We're at the Bronze Age and the Stone Age and the information age. Well, now it's the age of inspiration, which is perfectly suited to fulfill the demand of this on-demand culture that we live in that grades content. It is for me, it is no mere coincidence that the AI and the LLMs and the AGI hunger for the data, and the creative is positioned at a upper precipice to deliver all of that and more, as numbers alone can be crunched through quite easily. But enough of the boring. I'm gonna get into something that might not lend to your snoring. This is chapter 34 from Circumfusion, like I said, co-authored by Serendipitous and Comfort Creatures with the help of the Sketchy Apes community. Chapter 34, and it reads, Sketchy Labs was a vast cornucopia of wonders, and the delightful, fantastical in various stages of inception. As the corridor expanded into a giant open space, groups could be seen working together on shared problems. Alice smiled as they passed the line of robotics pits. The group of grease-stained hood rat apes, all wearing steampunk goggles and brightly colored overalls, owned the vibe and looked like they could have easily been dropping a record. Further down, the test field was populated with apes donning experimental limbs of all sorts, and attempting to control the appendages and feed each other something akin to stiff jello. Past sculptured courtyards where teal and violet apes sat solving stone puzzles with their minds, and the painting studios where pyrokinetics finessed flames against metal canvases. A fab lab belched out puffs of strawberry-smelling mist that took the shape of mythical titans. Ethan waved at the crew getting haircuts in La Barbera, playing the Mentacellin. Anything I once wanted. Slots and chit-chatting about the day's happenings. Alice turned to him. A barbershop? Here? Ethan's laugh was genuine and deep. Where do you suppose one of my hirsute disposition would go to get a decent trim? Incidentally, we have a number of bodegas as well. Alice's eyes widened. An unseen voice yelled from somewhere high up. Hi there! Watch where you're standing. There's a column coming to sprout. Just then, Detective Sketchy stumbled at the sight of VR architects swinging from harnesses, stacking miniaturized Colosseum columns on an asteroid orbiting what appeared to be an actual black hole. The lines between what was real and imagined in this emerging multi-layered utopian renaissance became more and more blurred with each passing step. Alice pointed to an outcrop of tiny dinosaurs meandering along what appeared to be a talking cat. Iris, are those purple Brontos? Iris broke into a wide grin. It appears Kelvin has adopted yet another project, needing fostering. I do believe that other delightful creatures might be a Chinosaurus. Lovely, isn't it? It happens often here in the labs. Many projects find themselves within the many layers of sanctuary we try to cultivate. There are times where things get, well, abandoned. There are many nurturing souls who feel compelled to give those folks a home, a place to mend. Alice and Detective Sketchy took in everything they were witnessing. Things that should have been impossible were being explored and discussed in ways that the conventional outside world could never know or truly understand. Detective Sketchy looked down at his feet and noticed for the first time that the tile work had backlit shifting words. Iris, what is this document? The party looked down collectively to investigate what the detective was referring to. Nodding her head, Iris answered, We tread on the shoulders of giants, all the great minds who gave themselves so that we may enjoy the fruits of their labor. That specific section is very special. Satoshi's white paper. You will fit bits of this piece. You will find bits piece scattered amongst many projects here. His work, coupled with many other pioneering souls spanning across the ages and planes of existence, are the reasons so many things here can exist. The lives we choose for ourselves do not follow convention. In the world you know, out there, could an ape like me have a job? She looked over at Alice. Would you imagine that your lab partner and cohort all this time was a walking, talking, scientifically enhanced and evolving, evolution-defying ape? She shook her head and smiled. Parallel economies have always existed for those willing to live outside the complacency of societal everydayness. Towards the end of the line, having exceeded all expectations and preconceived notions, they stumbled upon a quaint classroom of AI wordsmiths weaving narratives much like the way a composer coaxed musical notes to spiral up to the balcony seats. The symphony of machines learning the quirks of foibles of humanity without relinquishing their autonomicity was an intoxicating tune. Iris had somehow hoped that something in the whirling busyness of the labs might capture Alice's attention and distract her from embarking on her self-imposed mission impossible. Unfortunately, nothing had. The TSW hub came into view and focused Alice's full attention on her exit strategy. The path became an odd, almost iridescent glass-like composite where the many layers of the facility could be seen below. Looking directly to the left or the right of the path felt as if one was suspended in midair, walking amongst the clouds. Interestingly, though, the builder had the wherewithal to strategically position black onyx stepping stones for those traversing the passageway to lend the veneer of stability. Surrounding the entourage, there was an all-encompassing Tycho breath, like armillary sphere. What a word. Gently spinning in concentric light sparkling circles, passing through the suspended archways, swooping both high above and deep below. They were promptly greeted by the hub's operator. A larger-than-life smiling holographic black and white profile picture flashed in front of them. Iris fashioned her hands into a heart, signifying both appreciation for the operator's presence and honoring her silence. Hello, Shirley Lowe. Our guests wish to be ported to the University Chem Lab. The holographic operator did not move, but a follow token for each of the travelers matriculated at their feet. A swirl of GAN, chat, cyan, illuminated text arose in a vapor. You can go anywhere in any time, and yet you choose a destination within walking distance. The purple ape waved her hand to swish away the mist. The Chem Lab is fine for now, Iris said, trying to stem the flow of alpha prototype intel before being divulged to her guests before the decentralized global network was fully operational. The smiling manifestation cued a string of runes on the glowing console that had emerged from the floor to awaken the sleeping gateway. Alice's forehead furrowed. Wait, anywhere in any time? Do I misunderstand? Any time as in any time? Alice asked. Choosing to be deliberately vague, Iris ignored the real question. Well, yes, I suppose, but perhaps for another time, Alice. We're always building, always looking for ways to positively influence and bring comfort to the billions, as they say. Tempus fugit. The Chem Lab awaits. Shirley Lowe smiled in their direction as the passageway opened a technosocial wormhole. The whooshing sound felt much like how a subway car sucked the air and charged the tracks moments before its arrival. Alice and the detective felt their skin grow cold and their pulse counterintuitively slower, ever so slightly. Unlike before, it wasn't a locker door that hid the portal, but rather a lumbering and archaic chemical fume hood strategically positioned to spit out and extract wayward travelers. The trio tumbled onto the Chem Lab floor in an unceremonious pile. Detective Sketchy lay face flat against the tile with Ethan's backside firmly positioned on top of his head. Alice looked towards the ceiling and arched her elbow. Not gonna lie, it was very disconcerting. It's supposed to vent to keep people safe. Ethan mouthed the words while using air quotes, Sketchy Labs. Detective Sketchy, clearly unamused with the lack of urgency in removing themselves from his personage, struggled to extract himself from under the dog pile. Get off of me, you hairball, he shouts. Ethan extended a hand to Alice. Hey, pull my finger. Alice was oblivious to the reference as Ethan peered down at the detective firmly stuck in a compromising position beneath him. Laughing, the blue apes suppressed the urge to be unkind and pass wind, as any loving fraternity brother would do in such a situation, and opted to lift himself and Alice off the sprawled human. The detective glared at Ethan as unspoken words passed between the two. Alice brushed herself off and smiled at what she believed to be the growing camaraderie blossoming between the two. The genetics lab Down at the end of the hallway was still dark, but the bank of windows that scaled the entire east side glimmered with the anticipation of the morning sunrise, still lurking just out of sight below the horizon. Before Alice could turn and start for the lab, Detective Sketchy eyed Ethan and took the lead. Ethan held Alice close to his side as they made their way towards the entryway. The detective motioned to the others to stay quiet while they padded down the corridor. Alice smiled at Ethan as she bumped her hip up against the badge reader. Ethan couldn't help but smile back. Alice always managed to have her hands full when she arrived at the lab, and the fact that her badge was always in the same pocket just for that reason was a wonky quirk that Ethan adored. There you go. That was just a little light reading from Circumfusion. You made it, people. I made it. We stumbled. It's amazing. A lot of hard Web3 words being thrown around in there, but it's beautiful. I love all of your quirky names and the symbols and the images that you tote about, representing yourself for the beautiful, lovable freaks that you are. Thank you for showing up. If you got something to contribute, please take the stage. Until then, I'll continue.
I'll tell you.
There we go.
Yeah, so I'm sitting here in my room. I got a story to tell, right? This is a story that just happened, right? Fantastic. I'm sitting here in my room. I'm talking to Don on the Muzzavision. It still says comfort couch. And yes, you are on the TV. So I'm sitting here and my door goes poof, it moves a little. And I look at Delilah. She looks at me. We're like, what the fuck's going on? Did somebody just come in the apartment? I get up. I go, what the hell's going on out here? I walk out, right? And my immediate first thought is, all right, front door looks okay. Let's look to the balcony. What's going on over there? Balcony doors blew wide open. Shit's getting real in fucking Rockaway, I'll tell you. But the fact is that until now, it didn't matter that only one of the two bolts on the door without the handle, the second door, works, right? So there's none at the top. Been an issue until today, but apparently this is going to be a fucking issue during this storm. So we're going to have to, put in a maintenance request, am I right? Anyways.
Oh, that's the worst. You gotta wait for the maintenance man.
I mean.
So it wasn't a ghost, huh?
No, well, better than it wasn't a ghost. It wasn't anybody entering my apartment that shouldn't be, because I just found camping knives. You know what I'm saying? Anyways. No, we're good. There's a little water here to be cleaned up, sure, A little water.
Wait, so wait. How much of
It's a simple story that happened. Let me tell you.
no. It's
The
not
wind
so
blew,
simple.
the
How
door's
much-
open.
Wait. So what about
Me and Delilah looked at each other like,
what does that have to do with the screws? What does that have to do with the screws?
no, the bolts, not the screws. No,
The bolts,
yeah,
the bolts.
sure. So, all right, they're French doors, right?
Yeah.
One of them. Let me explain this to you, and I'll do a noise thing so you can hear it. That's the blinds. That's not the door. All right, this is the door that opens, right? While this door, first one, swings open, the other one sits stationary here, right? It sits because there's a bolt at the bottom down here that pushes down, and up here that pushes up that's non-existent, right? The one up top does not work. So there's one on the bottom, one on top doesn't work. So on a normal day, it's perfectly fine. But when the wind's blowing at 60 miles an hour and blasting against both doors, it apparently is not fine. And this is the first time that's happened. I'm sitting in my room.
So the door that doesn't open.
Hanging out, talking to the Don. And all of a sudden, boom, what's that? Delilah's like, I don't know, something's going down. And it's a good story or no? How'd it go?
I like it. I'm sending you a complimentary access pass. That's right. You're getting into the comfort couch writing room. You know,
Wait, if you tell a story, you get a pass.
Well, yeah.
Did we not listen?
You didn't.
I said,
Did I? Suck it. I love it.
none of y'all listen. Jeez, I said if you participate, I'm giving away.
Comfort. I had Donnie here, right? We were conversing, doing the things, having a good time. By the way, thank you, HB, Rambler, DGen, and the IO team for my beautiful new scenery setup, frames, TV, all the things on your Muzzavision. It's beautiful. I don't know if you saw it. We're in a frame right now.
I actually told them earlier, Yamaza, that the frame might have contributed to the depth of Jeff D's and the Don's conversation.
It was amazing, right? They were in the same frame together. It was like they were best friends, right? You just cram them into a frame together. They're like, look at us. We're hanging out in a frame together. And they had a good time.
Look what I can do.
Exactly. But they also, it was fantastic, actually. It was you changed it to Comfort's couch. It was the, what I call it? These Nuts and the Don.
There we go.
Crypto talk, right?
But you came up with a new segment.
Crypto combo.
You come up with a new segment called Yamaza Listens.
Your mother listens. Exactly. Anyways, Sarah.
I'm just laughing. I wanted to say, that section of the book that Comfort wrote or read this evening is one of my favorite parts because Jay Lee's song is actually in the margins right shortly after that, after the scene that comes in the fab lab or in the lab that they go into. And, it's so funny when you read it. You hear all of these little pieces, and I wanted to read a couple of pages just because Yama had mentioned something, and I wanted to point out that there are a lot of things that were included in this book that fell under the radar, and Delilah coming into our life was one. And I remember the day that Delilah came into our life, and on page 231, I will just start reading just a page because I think it's important because we love our family members, including the furry ones. So on page it's page 231. From the murky seabed, sea tunes, submersibles began relaying the real-time footage from beneath the massive Peel facility. Jimmy Bazooka tilted his head. Am I seeing pincher and crusher claws unlocked from the docking bay? Delilah, zoom in on that and go ahead and get in on the 3D on the tabletop while you're at it. 10-4. Delilah was one of those types of folks who were insanely gifted, but seldom let anyone see the true extent of their genius. Nobody suspected that she had feline DNA in the mix somewhere when they had rescued her from the Peel facility hidden in New York's garment district. Her uncanny ability to snag the big fish and whales swimming in the digital streams made her one of the most deadly submersible drone operators in the world. Nilla the Biscuit spun around in his chair to quickly patch the feed. Hey there, Delilah. Times Square can never shine as bright as you do. It's true. There was a brief giggle before the clearing of her throat. There have been a number of explosions around the perimeter. You see where what we have previously identified as research pods have now all been retracted up into the body of the underwater structure. Precisely 4 minutes ago, 6, I repeat 6 spherical buds emerged. 3 on the south side of the structure and a matching set, 3 on the north. These buds have proceeded to telescope out into what appears to be a crab-like appendage. The pincher and crusher claws we discovered earlier have now formed a tech-hardened exoskeleton. It appears that exposure to salt water catalyzes the shell. Copy? Jimmy Bazooka watched in real time as the legs continued to extend down and embed into the seabed. Can those legs support weight? As the submersible maneuvered in for a closer view of the bearings, an odd glow from what appeared to be twin glass orbs between the pincher and crusher claws. 6 legs are locked into place. The facility is standing on its own accord. Repeat, it's standing on its own. It is a giant mech blue crab, sir. Stand by for the release of sticky audio bugs. There is activity between the claws. Acoustic enhancements deployed. Delilah shot multiple rounds of self-adhering, clear-looking barnacles to the glass outcrops. As the submersible made its first pass, she could see what was clearly a laboratory and a man dressed in protective gear from head to toe. There was an odd glowing tube in the center of the room that gave the illusion of poisonous snake pupils looking out into the Gulf waters. The facility finished with its final molt, had completed its metamorphosis into a high-tech mobile crab lab. The operator was obviously testing the articulations as it raised and lowered the front claws above its head in preparation for the disconnect and escape. The expanding and contracting pincher missed crushing Delilah's watercraft by mere feet. Jimmy Bazooka's voice came over the comms. That was a little close for my comfort. I remember that. That was kind of funny when I wrote that. We have established audio and visual. Tag as many of the exposed pods as possible. Heading in. Maintain a safe distance. Delilah dove deep to skim the underside of the facility and pepper it with the last of her sticky trackers. Happy wandering, Scrabby Crab. I'll be looking forward to a little cat and mouse chase later on when Brass lets me sharpen my claws and play with the live rounds. That's all. I just wanted you to know Delilah's pretty special.
Boom.
And that stupid crab lab, oh my gosh, I wish I could tell folks in the middle of the night, Comfort is playing with the second draft, right? And I'm letting him, play in the background. He let me play in the background. and the emergence of a crab lab came out of nowhere, and it just kind of emerged from the draft, and I thought, I need to understand how this thing works. And so the middle of my studio was a giant crab lab made out of Legos, and all of the little characters had a fight scene, and you have to understand where each of them are, and it was just so delightful. So, you know, all the stories that happened in spaces over that year, they all embedded themselves in one way, shape, matter, or form into the story of us. And that's our family, our pocket family. Circumfusion means to pour out, to let it all flow out. And it's just been so amazing to watch each and every one of the folks that are building projects on the side, that are creating new things, having new spaces, singing new songs. I saw that Jaylee was up to doing awesome on her timeline. And it's one of those things that is such a privilege to watch, how every person takes ownership of the story in their own unique way, and how it becomes a story worth retelling. I mean, I don't think any of us can think of Delilah without thinking meow
Exactly.
or anything else. I know, right?
And crabs on the deck. Yeah.
I know. Well, the blue crabs I actually had to look up, because that, Comfort from his
Do they
neck of the
swim?
world comes those kinds of critters. And Nilla, one night Nilla in the sketchy lab Discord, he's like, whatever you do, let me wear flip-flops and spin around in a chair. And I thought, I'm going to do that. Just like, I think it was Karis, one night she had mentioned one of the characters eating edamame, and this is where this whole chili edamame thing came from, and how Big Mo had this whole storyline. And it all came from the night of folks just sitting and chit-chatting and talking about these bits and pieces. And these were folks that never believed that they could be an author. They never believed that they could write a story. But then when you start putting all those pieces together, I mean, even like the hood rats and what they wore, or the fusions kind of manifested themselves. We didn't know what they were going to look like until, one time Daniel just mentions, hey, I'm going to have fusions. And we're thinking, you're going to do what? And then you have to change the story to kind of accommodate, the real world things that were happening at that time. It was just really special, really, really special, fun to be a part of. Go ahead, Yama.
I just wanted to see if I could play something.
Oh, of course. Of course, of course.
To the party, we're just getting started. Go ahead and do it. We are all the same here, just trying to get by. To the party, we're just getting started. Go ahead now, somebody come out to your mama. We're just as fucked as you. Come on, let's go get high. Goodbye world, to the morning we go. Life is better in the middle. Let's fucking go. LPO, message me. Life is better in the middle.
Oh no, Jay Lee's gone. We get to play her music.
Dutch. Party with just getting started. I didn't do that. We are all the same here, trying to get by. Welcome to the party, we're just getting started. Go ahead now, somebody get up to your mama. Spell just as fuck about you. Come on, let's go get high. And if you cover your itchy mile, we don't want to make it so tight your eyes. Come on. Eyes can see on the table, here's your piece of pie. So just a matter of time. Goodbye world, to the morning we go. Life is better in the universe, let's fucking go. Goodbye world, to the morning. Life is better in the universe, let's fucking go. Goodbye world, we don't think so. Life is better in the universe. Say goodbye to the moon we go, to the life that we all know. But there is out now in reverse. Forget everything you will be tough first now. Follow me to my house, let's life birds. Wanna do a life unfettered, just as she lives, tries to get the goodbye world to the moon we go. Life is better in the middle, let's fucking go. Goodbye world to the moon. Like the fact that it no never, let's go.
Man, can we get a record of all of Jay Lee's songs compiled together?
But I know, dude, I need it all.
I need an album.
Yeah, I know.
Oh man, so good.
Fucking print it.
Right? Please print it. Come on, Aya, let's get some music adaptation. Oh, HB wants to come back up. Let's put him up stage, get him on top. Speaking of on top, here's a little bit of lore that I wrote for this wonderful project. It's not lore for the project, but they had a thing where you can basically create your own NFT if you kind of sent these off in a battle. Anyway, this is the guy that I created. It's called Nobody Prime. It's a character in their comic book series called Nobody. But I had basically minted this really fun one, and I gave it to the creator's brother or whatever, and I love seeing him wearing it and representing it. But I always longed to have a version of it back, and so when I got to create it, I kind of got to lend my own verse to the story to make a hook so that I could tether this project into my own works moving forward as I'm trying to tether as many NFT projects to my own works, or at least Web3 to the work as possible to get some salience to the ecosystem, but codify kind of where we've been and where we went and what we went through, at least subconsciously. But this is an attempt that I did, a little piece of lore for this
Hey,
guy called.
Comfort.
Yes, ma'am.
I don't want to interrupt, but I
No,
wanted to answer the question before you started reading. The song for Jay Lee that was in the book is My Truth. I think that's what it's called, is My Truth, Their Lie. And I wanted to make sure that it wasn't actually the metaverse song. I know most people think that that's what it is, but it's actually not. It was one of her earlier pieces, and I wanted to set that straight. I got a DM, and I thought I want to make sure that folks know that it actually wasn't the metaverse song, that there are a lot of songs that Jay Lee had sung before, and that those verses and those words, those lyrics were deliberately because Alice had made by someone she trusted, and that was written a long, long time ago, right? So I really encourage folks to check out a whole broad portfolio of music, because I didn't want to let that one go out of before someone goes out and says, "Oh, that's the song," and I was like, "No."
But you know what, Sarah,
Click on her page and go to her website if you want to hear her music.
doesn't that Sarah lend itself though to the whole? I think yesterday at your spec you had mentioned, as the creative, you should sometimes make something just for yourself. And I just it just clicked in me that all the things that folks don't get, they're not really privy to, I think is part of that. We have so many little things tucked away in this book. I think it'd be cool if we had like a scavenger hunt or something fun, like
I think people
like,
would legit freak out if we had a scavenger hunt and they actually started putting all of this together. They would legit freak out because there are so many different things, and it is sad that the book that the first version of the book had some typos and some kind of form issues, and then after Dushka went ahead and finished it and put more people's signatures and stuff in it, there are some things that just because of language barriers that didn't kind of coalesce, and I'm excited that when the second version kind of comes out, I think people will legitimately be shocked because of how many folks were actually included, because we didn't have permission to use a lot of those stories. But a treasure hunt would be really cool because there are so many amazing personalities and really profound works that they've done behind the scenes that you would never know. Like Rainy does a lot of stuff. LTO does a lot of stuff that nobody knows. Obron does the same thing. And even the IO team, when you think of that Green Dot Nation, you have no idea how many people they're supporting and how amazing it is. But I didn't want to interrupt your flow of thought because it is really important in tethering the characters that you have and how they're playing into other things. I hear Shar. Just
I got her.
Sorry.
I got her muted.
But yeah, I mean, especially you, Comfort. I don't think folks really truly understood how many characters that you brought in to the fold, especially from other projects, Space Addicts, the nerds, for instance. You had so many different kind of ecosystems that are storytellers that kind of wove their way in it. And it's really important because Web3 is not about, yes, it's about decentralized nodes, but there's so much cross-pollination between these projects that folks have no idea. But I apologize for interrupting. I just didn't want to let that one go because they're like, oh, the metaverse song? I'm like, no, actually, it's something totally different. And those words in the other song are gut-wrenching, especially through the prism of the storyline.
Right? Oh, and that's the beauty of it. That is the beauty of it all. And I would love if we could one day get Miss J. Lee up on stage to talk about her craft as a storyteller of the musical variety. As I mentioned earlier, storytelling is a ubiquitous trait for all humans. That's why they say that we are not Homo sapien, the wise man. We are the Pan-Naren, the storytelling chimpanzee. Which I'm hearing that, I was like, dadgummit. It's a thing I can't, stuck in it. I can't, because you can't not think of life pre-story because it is pre-language. And to be you cannot conceive of life pre-language because you're using language to conceive of non-language. It's impossible. And that's the fun of it. To dig down deep and see where the ley lines run and how deep they course. Thank you for accepting the co-host spot. Spunky is in the frigid cold. He has no nose or ears, but he is booping the phone to mute and unmute as he traverses the wintry nature of his landscape. What were we doing? What was going on? Aha,
You were going
I
to read
remember.
your story.
Oh, well, this isn't even a story. This is just a little blurb I kind of wrote for this NFT I created up top with the Space Addicts. Dude, Ron, I want to get Ron in here. As a storyteller, he's out of this world, literally. He's writing a space, themed comic, but there are no planets, and it's really rough and gruff, and it's inspiring to me. Like when I see one of his pieces, my mind immediately constructs a narrative around it. I backdrop for it. I'm like, oh look, whoop, squid alien. I know what's happening here. But I wrote this little tiny piece just for the NFT I made as its bit of lore, and it's Nobody Prime. Left for dead adrift in the void, this mysterious figure returns from a rift in the near adjacent, possessing several cosmic artifacts and enigmatic tales from beyond. Either savior or destroyer matters not, as they hunt down a warm slice of Za and the betrayers who stole everything from them. And where he went, or where they went in the near adjacent, is 60 frames per second. That's right, people. That's where he was. Battling the Space Force, but as a child's cartoon. Wahahaha. It's multi-dimensional, who knows what's going on out there. The Akashic Record is a very strange place. Indeed. If you haven't seen the What Ifs, or bootlegged them, or pirated them, or whatever you gotta do to watch them, it is fantastic storytelling. Weaving together those multiversal threads in a very moral mosaic kind of way. Like I said earlier, Sarah, I mentioned that the hero's journey is just the beginning. It's not the everlasting, which I hope one day we will get to discuss the hero's journey. And then from that, the moral mosaic. And I really want to dig into that deeply, just to see what it is. There's some really fun, writer videos where, authors or writing coaches are talking about the craft and the nature of story. I would really love it. That's one of the goals, is if we can foster that type of discussion here. Just get all those beautiful, lonely writers into the room and storytellers, to participate.
Well, I think a lot of folks can be intimidated by Campbell's writing. When you think about the hero's journey and all of these different bits and pieces, when you break it all down and you just say, hey, what are you about? Tell me a little bit about yourself. It starts to unravel. And those threads kind of unfilter out and unfurl, as you say, and folks start to understand, hey, I have a hero's journey too. I just didn't know it. A lot of times we'll read things, in school or whatever, and you kind of think about the pieces of a storyline and how they all play out. But really, at the very heart of it all is just, what does it mean to be human? And especially now, what does it mean to be human in the age of AI and co-collaboration with, a computer or a large language model or, machine learning in general? Where are the fingerprints of your humanity? What are the things that, leave behind a little bit of proof of human in the process? It's been really interesting because if anybody here has been to the Consumer Electronics Show, it's one of my most favorite places to be. And this year is one year I haven't gone. It just didn't, the cards didn't play out the way that they should have. But, you know, the storytelling that happens in these booths and how they explain their why they built the tech that they do, what problem it's going to solve. It's very fascinating because everybody, it depends on which booth, but it always happens in everybody's booth. They talk about their lives and why it was that they came to work for the company, or why it was that they felt this technology had to come to pass. And you know, if we can kind of train folks to think about that, think about the things that, you know, happened in their world that maybe they could share and better the lives of other folks, maybe ease their burden or ease their journey a little bit by helping to carry the load. You know, the folks that are in the room today. And it's been such a privilege, I think, just to hear their little bits of stories, you know, whether it's in the IO team when they have their team up space, or, you know, if they're holding their own spaces, or they just pop in like a Shar pops in and you hear little tidbits of the wubbies in the background, and you know what kind of life that she's often running with. And those like little pieces all kind of weave themselves into this tapestry. And it is a hero's journey, you know, a pilgrim's progress, where we meet all these random characters along our way and how they kind of interact with ourselves. And you know, the storyline, I'm trying to find a picture. I don't know if you've seen it on my timeline before, but you know, my daughter actually loves wearable tech, right? So she likes to make costumes and she likes to wear, you know, the skins of her characters. I suppose that's the best way to put it. And there was a character in Fringe Drifters, which is a really cool project. They had made a movie called Prospect, and this was before, you know, our Star Wars friends were famous. You know, they were in this this movie, and this movie was actually created in a makerspace in Washington, and it was interesting because they came to Web3 in order to build the next iteration, the next sequel or whatever of their movie, The Fringe Drifters. And they thought of how it would break free from that legacy system. I know that Robot Feels has also done something similar, but I was just captivated by the fact that, you know, my daughter had pulled a random character and said, okay, I'm going to build this costume. And we built it just for the movie, you know, and it kind of took on a role of its own, because you see these JPEGs, these, you know, two-dimensional characters. All of a sudden you think to yourself, how can I make this real? Whether it's making a costume, whether it's building a storyline behind them, like Iris has or Ethan has, or even like carving a pumpkin of, you know, my Spunky that has Daniel's sweatshirt on it. You know, those are kinds of real world,
You know, that
tangible
was
touch
bad.
points.
Let me tell you.
I love carving. Yeah. So, but I mean, that's how we take ownership of the storyline. Those are things that only we can do. And I think it's one of those things that each of us are going to have to ask ourselves. If you want to continue to be in this digital overlay, what's your story? You know, how are you going to tell it? Are you going to be a singer like Jaylee? I'm using her as an example because she's here. But are you going to sing songs, or are you going to write, or are you going to just support? Because that's a big role too, you know, is showing, helping people have a platform to tell their stories. You know, I was really privileged. What was it? Monday, I guess it is. I lose track of days. There was a woman that came up in space, and she hasn't spoken in spaces before. And it was just such a privilege for her to feel like their sanctuary so that she could tell her story. And as a Latina woman who has a rare skin disorder, her artwork tells her story. It's so bold and really personal. And it was such a huge moment to hear her story. So, you know, everybody's on a hero's journey. We just don't know which part of the hero's journey, but it all works out in the end, just so you know.
Oh yeah, I just want us to take those threads and weave together that moral mosaic, you know, so that when you and I come to the store together and there's one loaf of bread, and I have my journey that's taken me here, and I've gone through hell and high water to get here, and I have my needs for this bread, and you've gone through an equally greater, equal if not greater journey to get to the same bread. And it's, what do we do? How do we abolish our moral biases, uh, and come to terms with this situation and move past it together, versus like fight to the death of the bread, mentally, emotionally, or physically. Um, you know, and have that as part of the construct, so that the hero's journey becomes that guiding star of the moral mosaic, that helps shift our perspective in ways which leaves where we began said journey far behind and far more confusing than the questions that led us or continue to lead us further. Like, why do I need this bread? How do I need this bread? What does it mean? Etc. And be able to do that instantly and then empathize and then come to terms and split the bread, and figure out why there's only one loaf of bread left and what we're going to do about it. And who's going to clean this mess up? But that's what I love about the idea of this being a storytelling space as well, though, Sarah, so that, like you just said, others have their platform to kind of share their story, what they put through their mental filter feeders, and it's screwed, be it a grocery list or, some divine manifesto, tinctured from the seventh level of heaven. It matters not. So long as they come and share and tell their tales, as our ancestors have done for eons, gathering around these bondfires. And for us today, they are devices of plastic and metal where we swizzle our fingers on a screen and rip open technosocial wormholes through time and space and perform the shamanic dance on the other side, hoping to awaken the brave, reckless gods and goddesses within us all. At least that's how I do it, people. Sarah, what you got going on?
Well, when you think about it, there's a couple things just to unpack. The reason why we have a moral mosaic is that you have a common North Star. And when you live in a world where no one has the same stories, that they don't have the commonality of lore or the commonality of a myth and legend. There's a reason when you sat around the campfire and you looked up at the stars, different cultures had different ways of naming those constellations. And those constellation stories were handed down from generation to generation. The moral mosaic that we ask ourselves and say, will we always fight over the loaf of bread? It has to come from a place where people see people as humans, they're fellow human. They look upon somebody with charity and they look upon someone with favor. And, it's one of those things you can't force them. It's like, the Little Prince, the author of The Little Prince, he said, look, I actually, there's nothing I can do to force someone to create a spaceship or, to want to explore. But I can point out the stars and then they'll build that spaceship themselves. That's the key is instilling the maker's mindset, the one that says, I want to explore, I want to build, but not only that, I want to transfer my skills to someone else. And I want to have, those fingerprints on the vineyards that we plant that will feed those 7 generations after we escape our mortal coil. I did post in the bubble down below the generation of a story played out. And the reason why I'm showing it is not because my daughter's a badass with those swords and could probably hurt some people, which she can. All 3 of my kids are gifted in martial arts, but the costume that she created is embedded with tech. And that story, that JPEG, kind of fit a storyline that she could understand, especially as a kid going off to college, exploring the great void, for lack of a better term, and a lot of times having to wear a mask because people don't understand a 6-foot kid that is in mechtronics like she was. So, it is one of the things that I hope that inspires other people is that look at the stuff that's in your wallet and then think to yourself, how am I going to make it work? And I apologize for Artemis in the background. She is trying to dig at the door. So if you hear that pounding, it's a 130-pound dog deciding that she wants to leave. So sorry about that.
No worries. I was actually just trying to update a little quote in the Bubbletron, exploring the void with mechtronics. I didn't get to tag you in it though, because I was afraid the phone was going to go wonky and
oh, no worries. I'll tell you what, she's the only mechtronics major, right? And wearable tech in this group of people. And it's just such a bizarre thing because when people ask you what your major is, and she's like, I just want to build, ectosuits that make people superheroes,
Have you seen the recent ones? I know she's probably super giddy and all over that. Like, you see them like just lifting up and moving these intricate parts. I mean, if we could do it on the micro, we'd definitely be able to do it on the macro. Sheesh.
The tech coming down the pipe is just incredible. It's so mind-blowingly cool. I mean, I've been given back, front row seats in the back channels to some of the stuff that they're not posting on the Twitter feeds and X feeds of what has been said and what's been done wearable tech, spatial, computing in general. I've been waiting for this for 20 years. And I can tell you, such a wonderful thing. It's so delightfully cool, but also terrifying at the same time. Shar, your hands up, love. Go ahead.
I just want to say, Sarah, you're an awesome storyteller, and also an awesome. And it's just it's so great to hear Sarah when she speaks in the spaces. I just wanted to say that.
Are you trying to say that my story sucked?
No, what did I tell you? Just because
Oh,
I
Dang. Those are like,
got it.
those are like your stories or my voice.
Anyways, hey, we don't
You're the worst.
I don't want me to goddamn Dr. Bones tells me. Exactly. See, you know who my friends are now, Sar, and it's you're lying to me. It's the other. Anyway, no, you were telling me the truth too. I get it. I can read between the lines. Thank you. Sarah is the best, by the way. Yeah. Regardless, right? Regardless of the fact that my story was horrible. It was. All right, I'll work.
I mean, if you look at though, it's hard to tell about the nature story. One of my favorite videos is Kurt Vonnegut describing story structure theory, where he has, basically good at the top, bad at the bottom. He's got beginning on the left, ending on the right. And he basically kind of breaks down the flow of most stories. You either start null and you get some good, and it goes bad, then you go back to good or null. Or if it's Kafka, it starts off bad and gets worse, then worse, then worse. It goes all the way down. The boy meets girl, boy chases girl, boy gets girl, boy loses girl. The queen dies, then the king dies from sorrow. But he goes on to talk about Shakespeare and Hamlet. And in that, he basically deconstructs Hamlet under this lens that he's done all these other works to show that we're not smart enough, or we're not aware enough to know what a good story is versus a bad story, so that even something as bad as Hamlet can be one of the greatest stories of all time, even though it doesn't follow the particular rhythm that we're accustomed to in the story. And I was like, damn, he just right all over Hamlet. Poor Hamlet. Nothing ever happens, people, in that story, so don't worry. Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert.
Well, alas, poor Yorick.
Yeah, right?
It's interesting. We're coming into an age where storytelling is not about text. It's not about the written word, actually. We're, coming into an age with mediums that we've never experienced before, and how people are going to use those mediums to tell their story. And you already see the friction, because for those that, let's say, use AI, the anti-AI community is just without mercy, right? They forget that humans will use whatever is on hand in creative,
Exactly.
unexpected ways, whatever's on hand, to tell their story, to pass on a little bit of themselves, because deep down humans are humans, and the one thing that they have that is universal is, I just want to be relevant. I just want to mean something to someone. I want that my time here on the planet to have been worthwhile, that I did something that somebody else will remember me by, and even if you say that you don't want to be remembered necessarily, it's still that kind of internal want to be relevant, just at least to one person. You made someone else's life easier in some way. Even the rotten people in the world, they still want to be famous or immortalized in some way. That's why we have headstones. But, everybody, right? Everybody has a headstone. Well, in one way, shape, or form. But what's interesting is how metaphorical the headstone is. It's, we have a beginning date and we have an end date, right? It's how we live the dash that's between them that makes us, unique and special. And how you fill that dash, how you run it, how you play it out. That's what folks remember, is the dash. They might remember your start date sometimes. They may, lift a whiskey cup, in your honor on your demise day, the day that you escape your mortal coil. But people talk about you. The story worth retelling is in the dash. It's in the run. It's in the motion. It's in the action. It's in the doing, in that little dash. And I just think that, but every story to tell. And there are no bad storytellers. There are bad listeners. Because I can tell you, there could be an old man playing checkers down at the country shop down the way, the feed shop he's a man of very little words, right? Yama in Space the other day, he had one word, right? A whole word could be a whole entire story around that. You know, they may not tell you in the in between. There's a whole lot of story that hides between the letters in that white space, in the space that's not filled up with everything, you know. And we have to be better listeners about what happens in the in between, you know. Yeah.
I think Jonah Hill has a beautiful little comment on that in his movie thingy about mental health or whatever, and it's him and his psychiatrist or whatever, his counselor, and he said that I pay you all this money to tell me the answers, but all you do is listen. And with my friend, you know, all I wanted for them to do is listen, but all they can do, they can't help but tell me their answer. He's like, what if it could be reversed? And he's like, well, I'll be out without a job. They just laugh a little bit, but we all could do better with listening. We're not swayed by the way we interpret the things that we are experiencing without having to kind of observe them, like in a discussion or have some discourse, you know, so that you aren't moved from the middle way too much. Just because we're not trained, I don't think, to handle our emotions as we should be. And I have a lot of hands-on experience dealing with people as a therapist, and I hear all their stories about their suffering and their loss and their sorrow, you know, from amputations to like losing their loved ones to losing part of their face, you know, and it's having those stories present and being able to lend just the thread of my own verse to give them some comfort on the way has been profound, because I get to add to their story. They're not just dumping on me, and I'm just no, yeah, oh yeah, here's a solution. Oh yeah, here's a solution. It's I've done something in that weakness, in that vulnerability, the same vulnerability that I tap my pen into to get the ink for the stories I write. I get to tap into the heart of them with some sincerity. And oftentimes, I have like a 98% success rate on cracking through that armor and then doing a judo flip. So they're like not feeling so sad about the dismay that has found them and has brought them to my table to tell me their tale. You know, and having that, it's like, that it reminds me how powerful stories are. And I hate going into work every day and having to work on people and not sell books and talk to you beautiful freaks and stuff. But it has healed me and taught me so much, being able to touch the heart of divinity in that way, if you would, and be able to recognize the similarities within my own creative process so I can at will tap into the ink of my soul and hopefully profess something that moves you or inspires you, and it becomes a story worth retelling. But even then, though, I care not. You know, if the story is ever read, I'm already content with it being the #1 doorstop opener in the country. You know, 9 volumes. You can hold open a bank vault if you must. But with a story worth retelling, I'm torn between what I want to read to y'all today or tonight, wherever you roam. Do I just follow through to the next chapter, or do I pick something really
fun?
What fun or next chapter? Fun or next chapter?
Shar has
Not
your hand up.
Shar. Wow, yeah.
Source the crowd.
I am going to say fun, but I did also want to say comfort, that you probably get more truthful stories told you as a massage therapist than actual like therapists that are supposed to be like counseling people. I bet you get
I'm like, well, the counselors come to me.
I bet
Sadly,
coming
Yeah,
to
there's
you.
a counselor for the counselors. Oh God.
sadly, I'm like, oh no, not another counselor. Because at first they try to like dissect me, but I'm in this mirror mode, like I hear reflection, you know, and then they just start opening up. And like, no, 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 not in my lane. You know, let's steer this conversation this way. But it has been,
Oh, I thought you were talking about something else. Boom, count it.
it definitely has been a blessing to work on folks, and I hope that, you know, I'll be able to continue to do that with the success of my book. Just to make more time, you know, carve out part of the ritual because it's part of my process, and I invite anybody in the crowd at any point in time for the remainder of the show or next time to come up and share parts of your process, how you derive the lore, the mythos into your creations. But what I'm gonna do is I'm not gonna read to you something. I think it's just gonna be something crazy action-y. I think that'll be fun. You know, where are we at? We're at Literati Sundown Showdown. Ooh, this looks juicy. Let's see here. How many words? It's only 2,000 words. We're going to carve out, and we're just going to read this first little actiony scene. This is juicy. Man, this shit is juicy. If anybody's got anything to say, please say it now. Forever hold your peace till I'm done. Go use the room, put your feet up, get you a beverage, watch your breathing, your own comfort's couch. I've got Sarah up here, co-host with me. Spunky, I hope he hasn't frozen to death in the cold. Yumaza, Shar, and a whole cast of beautiful freaks in the audience. I would name you all, but I've got these vocals for the next reading. Man, Sarah, it's so fun how, for me, in this space, reading aloud feels like playing an instrument.
The voice, yeah.
I love it.
Did you say hi to LTO, though?
I said hello to all the freaks ubiquitously. I said Jay-Z, there's Io, there's LTO, Dr. T. Goyer. We got order side. What am I doing? I'm reading this like Leah. Jeez,
Well,
Louise, you just
you
hit
know
the button,
what?
go down the thing.
Comfort,
Huh.
there's something that you've mentioned that is important. You read your work out loud. You're speaking into existence, right? There's something really profound about audio, especially, we've got social audio, but you look at all of the major religions and it was spoken into existence. The frequency of sound spoke into existence. And when you read your story out loud, you learn a cadence, you learn how to connect, and those frequencies that folks can hear or feel the vibrations of. That's what connects folks. And sometimes we stumble on our words and it doesn't come out the way that we want, right? But the more you practice and you stand up and you be a big target, the more your words resonate. And so I just want to encourage you, because I know that it can be sometimes difficult to read your own work. It's no different than singing around the kitchen, and just kind of, doodling around and doing those kinds of things. But when you practice that, there's something very powerful in giving a voice to the voiceless, in telling your story physically out loud. Because once it's out there, everybody can hear it. No one can hear the demons in your head, right? No one can hear, they can't hear the gallery. They can't hear the characters that are going on and on. And even when you read the actual piece, and you're just looking at it and reading it in your head, the moment that it comes out is when it has power. And so I encourage each and every one of you, even if you don't have your own story to read right now, it's a piece of poetry. Maybe it's a song, Rick, that you find, touches your soul. Read it out loud. Give it power. Because at that moment, when you set it free out into the wild, amazing things happen. It's a catalyst for change, catalyst for action. And so I just wanted to point that out, that I know that sometimes you struggle, love, but you know what? It's good. It's good to practice, and it's good to give power to your words.
Oh, 100,000%. Practice makes sense, people.
Is that like the 100,000? Thank you. Did you go straight to the percent? I love it.
Yeah, bro. You see how I do it? Well, I used to be the gatekeeper of 100,000 welcomes, so it's just applicable wherever I bend it. It's a meme. Seize the memes of production, folks. All right. So this is without further ado, probably retweet the room, get some people in here. This is probably gonna be epic or an epic failure. Either way,
Bolivia said
Stumpy
he's
don't
coming.
care. Who did? Leo? Blovio? I could bloviate a little bit.
Yeah, he heard you. He said, "Nah, not as good as me."
Shoot, do you actually have the Amaza Vision song queued up? /Green.nation?
Queuing up. We just do this. We gotta leave this though, because otherwise it's gonna play that music and all the noises.
Thank you for doing that, Yamaza. The winter storms. Jeez Louise. Climate change. What are you doing to me?
Oh, dude, amazing.
Dr. B.
Good evening.
Sounds evil.
How's baby, Doctor?
Since Dr. Burns is evil, it's like
You're welcome.
What is on your evil agenda for tonight?
question. You see, it's Tippy Sprinkle Tuesday, so I was thinking about some
Titty Sprinkle Taco Tuesday. I love it. Oh,
there we go.
Chicken for the schnitzel taco. Fuck. All right, sorry.
Yeah, no, I actually popped up. I've been finishing up work an hour and a half listening to you guys and Sarah read her snippet of her story and everything like that. And just, committing on a positive, great space. And I missed you guys, so I'm going to say hi.
Hey, bud. Thank you. Thank you for stopping through. Do you have a story you'd like to share or talk a little bit about your creative process? You could have been a genius child, which is my complimentary access pass that I just give to you
Ooh.
because I got a lot to give away.
Okay, so you want to worry. Okay, so this is a story that was actually turned into a story by a storyteller that taught for a storytelling degree, actually. I had some family members that were the first to receive the degree from East Tennessee State University several years back. This late friend of the family who passed away a couple years ago used to go to the International Storytelling Festival in Jonesboro, Tennessee, on a regular basis, telling stories. And this was one of them. 'Twas the night before Christmas, and Dr. Bones was getting ready for all the children coming over to the house. The presents were tightly knocked underneath the tree, and there were children running around singing, playing. We had just finished the evening meal when, unbeknownst to the family, a call that would come through that would change the course of Christmases for all to come. You see, I just had some cousins that had left. They lived in Middle Tennessee, and they had to go ahead and get back home before Santa Claus was coming to deliver packages there. And as they crossed the river bridge, they called me and they said, Dr. Bones, we're going to need some assistance. And I said, of course, what's going on? So look, to set the background, Dr.
You an orthopedist?
No. So Dr. Bones was dressed in a Santa suit T-shirt. Okay, this is a T-shirt that looks like a Santa suit, but it's not. Kind of like the tuxedo T-shirt, Santa suit. Candy cane striped socks, knee high, that light up when you walk. And so what had happened? Dr. Bones got called to the scene. You see, in this late Christmas Eve night, there was a deer that had been hit by a car and was struggling, not doing good. So Santa grabbed his 45 caliber ACP.
I knew this was how this was going to be.
Don't ruin the story, damn it. So along with a good cousin who was also aficionado.
So you weren't called to get out the mouth?
Well, so we grabbed into the sleigh. We jumped into the sleigh and traversed over the countryside. And
I'm just glad Grandma's okay.
until we came upon a Blitzen. Now, as we got there, we saw pretty quickly that it was not a situation where you could call a vet. In the middle of the night, there's not an emergency deer clinic. That you can take.
So you are not qualified to tend to a deer?
Correct. This was actually back before evil medical school as well. So, the decision quickly made by Santa Zeus and his elves that, the most plausible and humane thing to do would be to, put Blitzen out of his misery. So as we reached up, chambered a 45 ACP round, and a few shots later, there were some headlights coming around the curve. And the minivan passed, the children eagerly looking through the windows with their nose pressed up. And
okay, so what movie was this in? When the bus drove by? Is this Bad Santa?
This is a true story, correct? So quickly, as the minivan passed, we let some time go by until we realized the deer and reindeer in short range was still moving and thrashing around and still suffering. So the decision was made to have a few more rounds of 35 ACP to try to end such misery. Around that moment, yet another round of cars came around, and of course, with fear that there might be some commotion coming, or even law enforcement, Santa did go ahead and get into the sleigh and head home. But I do always wonder, what those children were thinking as that fateful Christmas Eve went by, watching Santa dressed up in his Santa T-shirt, candy cane socks, put down Blitzen on Christmas Eve.
Damn, Doc.
It was. You're right. It was Napoleon Dynamite, and it was a cow.
Good artists steal, great artists inspire people.
Nah,
Just-
it's
and
still-
just like that, you can weave a fable and tell a tale. Well done, Zach. Can I just send your little
No,
who can I
that's
send?
true. My guess is that's a very true story. It sounds very
Who can I
true.
send that to, Dr. Z?
It's Blue Buddy, 100% true story.
So bitch. All right.
But
All
Don,
right.
what was the name of your 45?
It was a Taurus ET 24/7 Pro.
No, but what is
No,
its
what did you
name?
name it?
Mine's
Oh, Sparky.
Emmett.
Oh, Sparky. Oh,
Yeah, got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, mine's Emmett.
Nice.
Damn, that's got me all jazzed up. Where's the Blovio? Oh man, he's just gonna have to miss it. We are hitting the 6 o'clock hour. Ooh, get it, you muzzle.
Well, you asked for it, so I was just waiting until Doc was done.
Thank you, thank you.
For sure, don't know.
The couch with green dye. Hey, quick that up I don't remember everything you said, cause I was like, ooh, I can go ahead and just improv. Okay, let's grab my guitar. Sing like this, so I can't have he can stay on the screen all day long and get this attention. I got you nice and everybody takes it all seriously. It's time to slow down. Take a little time, turn on the screen, put a little dot next to your name. That's green. Da 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 da. Meow. You know he's glad you came, cause he's gonna scream out your name. Take me, Mama. I find my name and there's my blue check. The ones that I want to say. So me out. Me out. Hey there, Delilah, is it dope there with your Mazda? That he's the best bet online. He's so glad he's got you, don't you know? You're the furry star on his show.
Only two notes, Doc, over and over. She's killing it.
You're my Zavisha. Sure does look better.
Go. Hi-oh, let's go. Oh, let me just tell you, girl, you just take that thing there.
You are just dripping with.
Oh, you're just dripping on there. Hey, Coffee, I sent you a DM with a wallet address if you haven't sent it already, but didn't work.
I'll send it after the show.
Yeah, you'll get it, Doc. All right, don't you be harassing.
It won't be.
All right.
It won't be on Blovio's timeline, but we'll get it. We'll get it out there too. I know there's some even UUs hanging out.
God, yeah, he definitely owes a couple of
Just an
people.
FYI to folks that aren't paying attention to the timeline, the Security and Exchange Commission's Gary Gensler's Twitter has been hacked.
Oh yeah, fake,
And
fake
I am thinking this is delightful. So just so
Holy
you know,
shit.
yes.
Oh,
yes.
so real quick, just a brief security thing. Which form of 2FA do you prefer?
I
Like the
actually use a YubiKey. And I don't
Okay.
use, and I think that's just my own personal opinion. I don't think you should have your phone number on
No.
any social medias just because SIM swapping is so freaking easy.
Can't you? I thought the authenticator you could do like the Google authenticator, right?
Okay, so let me just tell you, this is recorded space, so I can't tell you. I'm winking and nodding.
Okay.
I went to prom with Larry Page. I know Larry Page. I know his parents. I don't do Google. I tried to avoid it, just so you know. But yeah, there are certain things. I was listening actually to the Wallet Guard space that they had recently, and it was really enlightening. There are a lot of things that you can do to protect your accounts, and I do think it's going to play a bigger role, especially now after or CES. There are some very interesting technologies, and we are going to have to really sit down and think about our security and what we are going to allow people to have. So, but I do use a YubiKey, and I have all of my importance separated. I like decentralization, so the more nodes, the better. If I have, and I'm playing with AI, it's on a separate entity, a separate system altogether. We have the Raspberry Pi 5s running the large language models right now. One's running Linux with Minstrel, and none of that stuff cross-pollinates with any of my computers.
Yeah, that's where I've been leading to. Like I have like two PCs, and one is just for like art creation on, and then the other one is for like crypto shenanigans. But even that is just super limited. You got to tread lightly out here. And I've still got my training wheels on, even after 2 years, because I'm more of a creative.
Well, the
That's where
exploits
my
are
sphere
usually
is.
social engineering anyway. But here's the thing, all right? There's no easy way out. If you're using, let's say, a third party to suss out your bots on your Twitter account, or you're hooking your Twitter account to whatever other third party whatevers, right?
Yeah,
You're
super
putting
spaces.
yourself, exactly. You're putting yourself at risk. Make sure you understand who has the permissions for your account, and then constantly do that updating. I will tell you, there's a new company. It's called Rabbit AI. And I was listening to Jesse talk the other night, and I know this is a sidebar, but wearable AI is going to be a major thing, right?
Oh yeah,
And
100%.
what they created was so cool because it's basically going to turn everything upside down. You are never going to have an app again. We are coming really close into this world where you're not going to upload apps at all anymore. And that kind of technology exists now out in the wild. It's $199 too. I put my name on the list because I was like, dude, I want to play with this so badly. I can taste it. But it's true. We live in a time where you are going to choose the easy path, which will allow someone else to have custodial, of everything, or you're going to choose a path that's much more difficult, but definitely more delightful because you're going to learn a lot along the way. But yeah, you have to be really careful about what you connect to your Twitter, especially if you're trying to make a business here, if you're having spaces and things like that. My friend Christelle, she posted something recently that was really smart. Each and every one of you listening in, whether you're a storyteller, whether you're going to be writing your book, whether you're going to be singing your song, whether you're going to be making your art, you have to be very cognizant of your user base and the people that invest their time and energy in you and your work, and make sure that you have them collected somewhere else off of someone else's platform. Because if someone else owns the platform, they own your people. And if you love your people, you're not going to let your people be owned by somebody else and mistreated in the ways that they can be. So I'll just leave it there.
And to that wearable tech point, it will, like I have, had kind of posited, thinking about how we deal with data long ago, and me trying to explain to my friends how important it was, and they just thought it was trash. And I explained to them there will come a point in time where you cannot help but leave a trail of data. And with the advent of wearable tech, not only will we be leaving a trail of data, but one day we may be able to have this wake walking experience where the AI is pulling in real time the things that I need as I need them, kind of like the way the kids, God, it's so silly to think about, but the way the kids build in Fortnite. I think that's the game. I'm so old. But they run and are building in front of them.
That's
We
what
already kind
Apple
of do that.
Pro is. Apple Pro is absolutely flipping mind blowing, and people have no idea what's coming down the pipe. I mean, Apple Pro, when it's combining not just the audio but the visual. I mean, they even have a plan in making the visor, if you want to have it adjusted to your glasses, for instance. right? As a person that has astigmatism, I didn't realize that the world didn't see the whole world with these shocks of light around everything, when you're driving at night or something. I had no idea that that wasn't
Right?
common, right? But it's so cool.
You're
So
like,
you're,
oh my God, I'm terrified.
playing with AI and you're playing with, all of these things. And then they say, well, this is what it looks like to a person with stigmatism. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's like completely normal. And then you start figuring it out. But, the playing field is truly going to be, leveled for everybody, because these things that we're wearing are going to, you know, make it so that everybody's on the same playing field. And that's just impossible to think and wrap your noodle around. But I mean, even some of the clear screens that they showed, um, mind blowing. The robot that was making, people are like, oh yeah, robot making coffee. No, robot watched human for 10 hours and then learned how to build and make coffee. And people didn't make that connection. They didn't make that jump that the AI was actually observing, watching, calculating, figuring it out, reverse engineering it, and then making a cup of coffee. It had no programming whatsoever. It was just learning from what it was seeing. So when people start paying attention to what they're really seeing, I mean, even Javi, he came out with his next version of Magic and Magnifique. I think that's how you say it. I don't know how you say it, but people are like, "Oh my gosh, this is awesome! This is upscaling and blah blah blah." No, it's AI that is filling in automatically all the gaps and making it look that real, 10,000 pixels better. That has nothing to do with an upscaled image. It has everything to do with a machine learning ecosystem that is going to put an overlay over whatever it is that we create and make it 10 times better. I mean, it's just incredible to think about. But, as a storyteller, like we were talking about earlier, we are going to be telling stories in mediums that we have never played with before. We are going to be making stories in, the technosocial wormholes that you had mentioned, in many planes of existence. It's not just the X and Y axis and the Z axis. It truly is an age of spatial machine learning, and it's mind blowing. It's totally cool.
Blovio. Nope.
Hey, let's go,
There he
you
is.
beautiful freak. What's
Hey.
going on?
Oh man, we're chatting it up. Sarah and I are talking about story and tech, and we had a couple of crypto moments spill out here and there, but we've been keeping it focused on the track of storytelling. You hear
You got
the
a couple of what?
comments, spills of
I
crypto.
lost you.
We're a couple of crypto
I can't
nonsense.
hear you.
Oh, Sarah, can you hear me?
I can hear you, and I can hear Leo. I think Leo's going to
Yeah, Leo,
take a
take a
round.
look. Schmuck.
No. Put them up and pull them down. Like to speak. Boom,
I can tell
shabow.
you, I love hearing Leo's voice. I haven't heard it in
Right?
so long, and it makes me happy.
Like we really got to like lock in like the AI voice construct. Like I really want like neuromancer style constructs of us floating around in the ethersphere.
Let me say hello to the freaks. Hello to the freaks. And the jackbacks. Hello to you guys too. Either way, you know,
Right?
I mean
Everybody
that way,
represented.
yeah. Cover everybody. But I am wanting to just throw you guys the flowers. T Mac and I just went and bought some books tonight, and I am toting those upstairs to her as we speak. But I wanted to say that I love the freaks and keep rocking to the free world comfort.
Spunkster, what you got, baby?
Yeah, I just see Leo here on stage shining with those beautiful glasses, and I just want to make sure that he avoids Dumpy. So Leo, do not come near Dumpy because it's dangerous with those glasses.
I'll steer clear of Sir Dumpy.
Do you know why?
I don't really exactly know why.
Okay, well, if you want to know why, just listen back to the recordings of this space.
Okay, I'm down with it.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, we got a whole dumpy week worth of journaling to read.
Fantastic.
Oh my god, what books did y'all buy?
I don't even know. I'm gonna go upstairs and look, and if there's something amaze balls, I'll come back and tell y'all.
Okay.
All right. See y'all later.
Hell yeah, thanks for stopping by. Give love, T Mac. All right.
You the man.
Sarah, before I read this little piece, I just want to talk about the author that we had last week, having Devin and Christine on. and talking story and narrative with them. How much fun I had, and just wanted to just thank you for helping facilitate that discussion, as well as today's discussion as well. Months before it, I love working
The
alongside
universe
you.
conspires with us.
Oh
It
yeah,
always
is it
does.
Moya? Isn't that what it is?
I don't know, but I
Yeah.
just know that when you know, really have your heart in something, that the universe always conspires by sending you the right people. And you never know who you're going to meet and how random these things happen. I was talking to someone this morning about something that I had posted. I have a lot of old books, and I mean old books. I was one of the things that I keep off to the side, as we had talked about before, is calligraphy and the study of inks. Most people know, but my old book collection is kind of interesting. And I got an encyclopedia on my desk from 1901, and they were interested in seeing some of the other kinds of pages and information that this encyclopedia, for folks that don't realize it, it used to be a commonplace book of knowledge that people had to have to be well educated or well rounded. And they're little snippets. You would have etiquette, you would have housekeeping, you would have some recipes, you would have how to butcher some animals, or you would have all of these little tidbits. And it was fascinating because this is information that's being lost, on a daily basis, the dead internet, as they say. And, it's the cross pollination of ideas. And in talking with this person, it was a great conversation, And so, when Devin shows up and what he's been building, following his storyline, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. But it's always fun to play wingman to you, and I consider it a great honor. So just know that I believe in you, and I think that you're well on your way. And I can't wait to have all 9 copies of your series on my desk. It would be just such a tremendous honor for me, and to have that in my wall of fame with all of the other things that some of the folks that I've rubbed elbows with over the years have done. And I can't wait. I can't wait till it comes to fruition, because I do. I believe in you, and I think you're going to do it. And it's going to be fun to watch from the cheap seats, I think.
Oh man, Sarah, I don't know if I shared, but I've already got the covers for the Nauks. Kinda like they're there in concept. Like I have the central figures. It's just deciding on the right deep like space background for the unicorns. But the title's there, and of course you gotta have the blurb. But it's through being with y'all, each and every day for so long that it does help fuel me and keep me pressing forward, because I see what y'all are creating and it only inspires me further. And I'm like, oh my God, look what they can do. I could do it too. Then we could do it together. That whole Goku vibe. Spunky, what you got, though?
Yeah, I just wanted to point out that I cannot hear Sarah at the whole space, so I had very long moments of silence. And it was quite convenient because I was helping the wifey with her new letter to go for another job. And I also didn't want to step down as a co-hosting, but if I gave Sarah at some point, anytime in this space, the feeling that I ignored her or not recognized any kind words that she normally throws around, I would apologize and just clarify that part of the space. So I still think Sarah's amazing.
I'm tackle hunking Spunky. He doesn't hear me, but I've just given him a big old hug. And just know too. I don't know.
She's tackle hugging you. She's tackle hugging you, and I'm setting you down really gently. You're gonna go on down. Yep. You can take a little lap. They're gonna pull you right back on up. Hopefully, I did it correctly. If
It'll all
so,
work out, Comfort.
praise Ozzy. If not, praise Ozzy. No, blame Ozzy. There we go. You either praise him or blame him. It's all on Ozzy.
I missed Ozzy's voice. I am going to give you a heads up, though. I have to be in Starboss's space at the top of the hour, just so you know.
No, for sure. And I didn't even intend on going this long, but the conversation is so delightful. We'll definitely be more disciplined maybe next time. We shall see. But definitely at Starboss's space at 7 p.m. People definitely pull up if you got the time. But thank y'all for stopping by today. And of course, Blogo pulled up and left. I swear to some
Comfort.
kid, one of these days. Yeah.
Are you now closing down the space?
After I read this short little section.
Okay, but can you at least give me the chance to hear Sarah then? Because you booted me off stage. because I couldn't hear you when you bring it back up.
Me,
You're
Spunky.
closing down the space, so that's absolutely crazy.
Can you hear me talking?
Yes, I can hear you talking.
Just know that I love you to the moon and back, and I'm so thankful for you. And I think it's recorded, so you can hear the random nonsense that I was talking. But just know that I really appreciate you and my Pocket family, and I really thank you for hosting these spaces too. You know, having a wingman to help comfort is really special. He's got some really great friends, and all of us as Pocket family, I could not be more proud to have you all as my Pocket family. Just really amazing people. And you all, each and every one of you, are definitely a story worth retelling, just so you know. So, Comfort, go ahead, take it away and read us a story out, love.
All right. This is chapter 6 from my first book, 60 frames per second, Cyberdelic Odyssey, book 1, Innocence. And the main character is kind of stumbling down the beach in his own thoughts. He has just kind of beat up a group of bikers for littering, and he's kind of stumbling up the beach, and he's about to encounter the 2 special agents that were kind of hunting him but missed him. And so now that's about to happen. Hope you enjoy it. This section is called Counter Strike. Just ahead, having failed to extract their target and missing their rendezvous at the last beach access, the 2 men in red and blue floral button-downs enjoy a little seaside foreplay with 2 tourist girls from Center Street. Agent Blue tries to take his mind off their possible punishments as he enjoys some tender nibbles along sun-kissed necklines. Just then, to his surprise, he spots Conway and motions to his partner. Red shifts his focus from the blossoming beauty in his arms and furrows his brow. Get out of here. But you promised us a good time, she says. How are we going to get back, the other one asks. You'll figure it out, Red says. An awkward silence hangs as the 2 men stare coldly. Let's get out of here. I think there was a rocking party a couple houses back. Goodbye, losers. Good riddance. Blue walks down a short flight of sandy steps. Red follows suit and unsheaths his blade. On the other side of the dunes, the agent's truck cranks. She revs the engine, and both throw their middle fingers out the window as the black tinted 4x4 fishtails out of the beach access parking lot. Red turns to Blue. You're kidding me, right? You left the keys in the truck? We were going to ditch them, remember? I didn't want to lose the keys on the beach. While they bicker, Conway assesses the situation. Are these those bikers' friends coming for revenge? No. They look military's. Shit, it's them. It's the agency. The words make his heart leap from his chest. All his fears are coming true. At once, the tactical overlay heads-up display highlights their weapons, as well as possible routes for escape and potential armaments to aid in his defense. Do I let them take me and save Laniakea? No. I'll be turned back into their weapon. Then who knows how many more bodies they'll add to my count. What if they send me to kill everyone at Laniakea? Either way, Sage and the others are in danger. I'm fucked. Best outcome, I can force them to kill me and end this. But I don't want to die. And I don't want to kill, even if it's my only option. I don't want that life anymore. Call it in, Red says. Blue checks his pockets. I can't. Why? We left our phones in the truck, he says, looking towards the beach access. Agent Red's glare transitions to a fang bulging along the border of his left eye. Manor is going to kill us. Well, if we capture Zeph, all will be forgiven, right? Can we collect him? Not without a little help from the boys and girls at the pickle factory. Blue removes a cigarette case from his pocket, opens it, and dumps 2 capsules in his hand. Alone, this wouldn't be enough, but together, we should be able to take him. Guys, I'm sorry about your friends. They came at me. I hope there's no hard feelings, Conway says as sincerely as he can muster, despite trying to hide the icy numbness arching through his body. I don't know how much more I can take, he thinks. If I were to fight them here, surely I'd lose. Something's off. This doesn't seem like Zeph, Red says. Hey, we need you to come with us. Blue moves away from his partner. Conway steps back. I've got to get back to where? Laniakea? You're not safe there. Red opens a compartment on his belt. Luckily, the commander needs this as quiet as a church mouse until the project is completed. But that doesn't mean we can't carve that stolen intel out of you. They pop 2 black supplements designed at the pickle factory. Once the beans hit their gullets, the casing dissolves and unleashes a nanite storm into their bodies. Based on the aura system, these temporary body bugs enhance the user's abilities further than cybernetic augment alone. However, They have a short shelf life and exert an excessive amount of psychological strain. Over time, continued use may yield surprising results. Conway looks down to see the glowing tracers hasten their orbit around the tattoo on his left wrist. The aura system activates and mainlines a concentrated shot of Berserker, no chaser, into his system. Agent Red leaps across the sand at Conway. The superhuman feat would have caught him off guard had his digital overlay not displayed the predicted points of impact. Another tremor as he barely avoids the razor's edge. It goes unnoticed while the Berserker courses through him. Agent Blue slices at Conway and spins with the counterclockwise turn of his blade. Its electrical pulse hisses and sizzle pops amongst the humidity. He artfully dodges, only to encounter Red's coordinated attack. His red floral shirt floats against him as he lunges to disable the connective tissue around the neck. The bottom part of Conway's heel abruptly connects with the agent's solar plexus, breaking a rib and sends him flying into the dunes. Blue deploys another taser blade and continues his assault. He attacks with whirling slices. Conway effortlessly weaves through the windmill of hate and forces a reset. You're not bad, Blue says, but you're not as good as the rumors. You don't know who I am, he yells. Just let me go. We don't need to do this. The agent goes in again. This time, Conway steps to the left and the left of the blade and disarms him with the crashing force of his reinforced fist. Regardless of its retention grip, the blade slides a short distance, and instinctively, Conway races to retrieve it. By the time he turns around, Blue lands next to him, followed by a volley of electrical sparks as the two clash. Tilt, caught in the blender, the taser blades flail in front of his face, left, right, up, down, left, right. The crackle illuminates with strobing choreography. Conway attempts to reset, but Blue persists. He quickly adapts to the rhythm and isolates his attack pattern. Then, with the cheat code attained, avoids the next strike and counters with a series of seamless movements, grabbing hold of Blue's wrist with his right hand while scraping the electrically charged weapon along the ulna of his other. He removes the knife in a fillet of flesh with ease. Red struggles to get up, but by the time he stumbles to his feet, Conway has completely disabled Blue, now on his back in the sand. Stay down, he roars with a heart full of adrenaline. Blue struggles, and Conway twists the knife into his thigh. He cries out from the pulse of the taser blade into the neural circuitry embedded in his tissue. Make me kill you, Conway stands. Red hears his partner's anguish and jumps back into the fray. Taco HUD signals, and Conway turns to his attacker and throws the last crackling kunai with lethal accuracy. It catches him in the shoulder, mid-flight. Red lands in the sand, screams as the blade cauterizes the severed tissue. The nostalgia of combat cloaks Conway with its laurels as he wants to give in and lose control. A tremor courses along his ribs. I swear to whatever gods you cower before, I will field dress you for the crabs if I catch wind of y'all near Laniakea. Please, Red begs, don't kill us. The thought of doing it gives him a small sense of satisfaction, but also a sense of pity. Just then, the fat face of a portly scientist orbits his thoughts. They too are just doing their after all. I'm not going to kill you, Conway says, but I want you to leave me the fuck alone. The two agents flee the beach on foot, through the parking lot and down the street. They hobble back toward the lighthouse at the far end of the island. End scene.
Well done, Comfort. Well done. And I
There's
think
a lot
that
of nonsense there.
it don't matter. You know what? Remember what I said. Just get it down on a page first. Once it's on a page, then we can do something with it. So I apologize once again for Artemis. Artemis is trying to escape. So I love that you read it, though. Thank you so much for doing that.
No problema. And thank you all for attending today's Comfort's Couch. It has been an honor and a pleasure.
Can I say something? Yeah.
Of course, of course.
So to give you a small update on the freezing part, right? Because it's silent. My fingers were frozen, so I couldn't move them. The first couple of minutes, I think after 10 minutes, they got a bit of movement back. So that's the commitment to this space and walking in the freezing cold, listening to you. I also wanted to tell you that the Marvel writer sent me an excuse because he was very busy lately with work-related stuff, but he will definitely hop on one of the editions. So that's still hopefully a new guest soon.
I might have a guest. I might have a guest lined up for next week, though. I don't know if I should keep it a surprise.
Well, then if he enters the room, we just kick him.
Exactly.
No
Get out of here. Get out of here. And come back next time. Or the time after that. Who knows? We might be having Devin and Christine back on. That's the
Oh,
fire.
that's dope.
I'm waiting on I'm waiting on my copy to get here. I was gonna do the Kindle, but I really love the paper. Writing in the margins, doing the fun
Yeah,
stuff.
the margins are really big, so you can write in the margins. And
Oh,
I have, yes, because it's a lot of really interesting Gen X kind of humor. Very funny.
and the visuals too. I might want to doodle a little scene. It's Hashlet's fault. He like brought that back. Seeing him do that for Circumfusion, what the heck? It like pulled it together. Like it took it further from just a PDF, and then further from just a formatted novel, because Daniel's art is there, ready to be printed and distributed across the world. Sheesh. Sorry, what you got?
I was just wondering, Spunky, why are you in the cold? What's going on?
Well, I was just working late in Rotterdam, and then I missed my connection with the bus. I saw last bus driving away. Don't let him up. Don't let Yamaza up. He's gonna make fun out of me. I just missed the last bus, and then I had to walk home. 20-minute walk, but it is freezing cold in here. And I was holding my phone, so I didn't want to wear a glove the whole time. But at some point, we had a debate. I should just wear a glove and um, unmute myself with my finger. So I did, but I did it. I hold my phone too long, so the finger was already frozen. So
Oh my goodness, are you
that's
almost home? Are you home?
yeah, I'm home. Yeah, I'm home. I helped the wifey with
Okay, good.
a new letter to go for a new job. So and my fingers are fine again. Would have been a good excuse, Yamasa, if you lost FIFA again. You can tell something about frozen fingers because you cannot play that well with those fingers. Just take notes.
He did have the frozen toes though at one point in time.
Oh, I had that as well with after surfing. And that's called a winter toe in the Netherlands. I don't know if that's a proper translation to English, but it
Hey, it
hurts.
makes sense to me. It makes sense
It
to me. You
hurts a
can't feel your
lot.
feet. You're in the water, stomping around. Like, what are you even stepping on?
Yep.
Just right into the
Wait,
gel.
so do you surf in the winter? Is that what you're saying, Spunky?
Well, not yeah. Well, it depends. I go into the sea till the sea is 11 degrees
Mm-hmm.
Celsius.
Yeah,
So I'm not sure what that's in Fahrenheit.
my son goes surfing in the winter sometimes, and over time, when you get a lot of that cold water getting in your ears, you develop a thing like the surf. I don't know. I'm gonna call it surfer's ear, but I don't know what it's really called. And you actually like can get a little operation to fix that because it kind of like grows a little something to like protect you. But yeah,
Wow.
I don't
Thanks
know if
for
that ever
those
happened. So if
positive
you go over hard in
positive
hearing,
Shar.
it could be from
Already
that.
looking forward.
Hey,
What? What?
look at you telling stories, Shar. You trying to have me send you a genius song? Is that what's going on? Okay.
No, I was just no. I just wanted to talk to him about the surfers here because not everybody knows about that. You know.
No, I
Um.
didn't. So
Yeah.
thanks. Thanks for pointing it out.
Sure.
It's good
Because
to be
my
back
son
on.
like he's like a little hard of hearing, and it's from that. He needs to get it done. Okay. All right. There's your story.
That's what I said. Look, send me your ENS or whatever, your Addy, and then I'll get you one over when I batch the other ones over.
So
And then you can
my
go in the
toe
eye
is
of.
not good enough. I was
You're
telling you
getting one
about my
too. You're
winter
getting
toe.
one.
Oh, okay.
No, I got you on the list. Look, I'm gonna read the list out. I got the holders of my For the Poets collection. I got Sarah, Doc Jones, HB, The Rambler, Spunky, Degen. Maybe just one for Degen. Spunky don't get one. Um, Gotta use them sparingly. But no, there's a list. Checking it twice. You know, right there, right there. But no, we've got Star Boss's Space coming up at 7. I've got a break for dinner and hang out with the wifey a little bit before I get back to doing the revision thing. Y'all have been amazing today. Feel free to, you know, reel in space or come up next time and share a story. It's that easy. I know Don's got a story to share. I know Mexican Soldier might have something to share. T. Goyer, love story to share. This guy, more than a FUD, trust me. Anywho, let's hear from Sarah and Spunky, and then we'll wrap up.
Go ahead, Spunky.
Yeah, last time I raised my hand. Sorry for being annoying, but I have to say and give Yamasa a compliment on this new banner where the TV actually projects the colors in his face. So, and that's over in the picture. So, congratulations, Yamasa. I think that banner is absolutely fabulous and awesome. Suits you perfect. So, hey, Who thought that, right? Positive story about Yamasa up to close the space.
I think that's cool. And I like the banner also. I hope that each and every one of you leaves the campfire with a nugget of inspiration, a spark that will warm you on cold nights. For those of you that are in harm's way, I hope that you find peace and that the anxiety that you might have. I know a lot of folks are in a world of hurt with the weather that's coming through and whatnot. And I just want you to know that your pocket family's here, and each and every one of you, your story worth retelling. And the thing of it is, only you are uniquely qualified to tell that story. Don't entrust it to somebody else because they're not going to get the details right. And so I hope that you set it down to whatever medium it is that you work in, and make sure that you tell somebody else, because that's the key. It's not a story worth retelling, is that you have to touch the lives of someone else, and they're the ones that are entrusted with it. So you all go on to greatness, and thank you, Comfort, for inviting me up. It's an honor and a privilege to play wingman when need be, and I look forward to next week and hearing some more of your story and how it unfurls in the technosocial wormholes that you have created, my friend. So you guys go on to greatness. I'll talk to y'all later.
You've heard it here, people. This has been Comfort's Couch. I'm glad you came. Put your feet up. Hopefully you've had a time. Listen to some stories. Come back next week. Tell some stories or listen to some more stories. We're going to be here. Same bad time, same bad channel. Remember to drink plenty of water. Stay mindful of your posture and continue to be positive and love your life. Thank you very much.
It's schnitzel. It's schnitzel time. Gotta wake up early, put the chicken on the press, to bread it up. We gotta try our best. It's schnitzel. It's schnitzel time.